No one's to blame. Good on you, Howard. Graham Nash, ex of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and Hollies, people like that, was in town through the week. We caught up with him, and to start the interview, we talk about his new album called Innocent Eyes, which we all have heaps of, I guess.
Guys, Crosby, Stills and Young are not on this album. Was that by choice on your part, or
Absolutely.
They were unavailable?
No. They're never unavailable. We've made too much music in the past, to be unavailable. I decided this time that I wanted to make a solo effort, that I really wanted to make an album by myself, although no one, of course, makes albums by themselves. I had a tremendous amount of help with the record. But, and it was hard keeping them off because, they're fine musicians, but I wanted to do this on my own and make it a very different Graham Nash album than anyone's heard before.
What are they all up to now, the other three men that you're synonymous with?
Neil, we were just together in New Zealand.
Right.
We did that.
Oh, he came down for the Greenpeace.
That's right. We did the Greenpeace benefit for the Greenpeace organization. And I sang with him about 4 weeks ago at a benefit we did in Los Angeles. Stephen, I think, is right now going on a USO tour. He likes to support the troops out there. He goes on aircraft carriers and does shows kind of like Bob Hope and stuff.
Right.
Crosby's in jail, he's in jail in Texas, and we're waiting for him to get out. I think that with good behavior and some help from above, he'll be out in May.
You might be able to do a Johnny Cash.
Live from Huntsville.
What about the members of the Hollies that you actually recorded with a couple of years ago? Do you see them? Do you
yeah, sure. I mean, I've been friends with Alan Clark since I was 5 years old. That's 39 years. So, I mean, you can't stop being friends.
Right.
We just don't work together. I tried that album with him in '83.
Yeah.
And they just were hard to move. I wanted them to move back to America and do a second album and do a second tour and then a third album. But they were just content to be the Hollies, and so I left them to be content.
Simon and Garfunkel, I'd heard, had something to do with your career as well.
Yeah, the Hollies recorded a Paul Simon song called I Am the Rock.
Oh, right.
And he really liked it. And then when the Hollies came to New York in 1966, I got a call from the hall porter who was staying at the Holiday Inn on West 57th Street in New York. And he said, there's a guy down here called Paul Simon, he wants to talk to you. And I thought, wow. So I took the call, and Paul was incredibly friendly. He invited me down to the studio where him and Arthur were recording, and they taught me an awful lot about recording and about multi-track recording, because in England we'd done the first 6 years of Hollies recording on 4 tracks, They were just unbelievably friendly to me and very open and receptive to ideas, and it was a thrill for me as an English musician to be so accepted by American musicians.
Who would you say has been the greatest influence on your musical career?
Probably the Everly Brothers. The Everly Brothers and Crosby.
When did you run into Everly Brothers?
1960, Alan Clark and I went to see them at the Free Trade Hall, which is a local hall in Manchester. And they went to a nightclub after the show. We waited until 4 in the morning for them to come out of the nightclub, and they were a little drunk and, a little tired. And it was pouring down rain, and we'd been waiting there for a few hours. But they took the time to talk to us and to ask us questions about what we do. And we told them that we sang too, and stuff. They signed autographs and stuff. And let me see, 6 years later, we were in the studio with them. They were recording 7 of our songs, and we were singing with them.